Welcome to Dugout Chatter. We are going to see how America's pastime has shaped generations of young men and women into the determined people they are today.
All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to episode number 4 of Dugout Chatter. And I got a special guest in the studio today, my old high school varsity coach, Nick Franco.
What's up, McKay? Glad to be here, man.
Yeah, so for a quick bio for you, he played high school at Coral Springs High School from 94 to 97, then went on to play at Palm Beach State College under Craig Giro.
Giro.
From 97 to 99. And after that, you played Palm Beach State. You were in the 99 champions, and you hold the record for the single game RBI record with 11. And you were named to the all tournament team after posting a .550 batting average at the tournament. Jesus Christ, it must have looked like a fucking beach ball.
I was pretty hot that weekend.
Yeah, and then you went on to Stetson. Then after playing collegiately, you went to Palm Beach State College as an assistant coach during the spring season of 2002. Then after that, you went to St. Lucia's and started your coaching career.
Yep.
So,
I haven't left since until now. Until May 26th when my last day at St. Lucia's happened. So
was that bittersweet?
It was very bittersweet. In case anyone that doesn't realize it, I was at St. Lucia's for 21 years. And
were you like the longest tenured coach in Palm Beach County?
I wasn't the longest, but I was in the top 3.
Okay, so you and
I have
Greenstein?
some longevity. Yeah, Greenstein's been in Palm Beach County longer than me. Russ Milliken at Forest Hill was there, or been at Forest Hill longer than me. And Carm Mazza at American Heritage. He's been there a little bit longer than me. I think he's been at Heritage for 25. Russ has been at Forest Hill probably about 30. And then Greenstein's in like the 28, 29 range of being in Palm Beach County. But I'm up there, man. Yeah,
so where did this love for baseball start? I'm guessing it has something to do with your brother.
Well, actually, it all started. My father passed away when I was young. I was only 6 years old. My little brother Joe Franco, who's also into baseball and also a high school head coach, he was only 1 year old when my father passed away. And we were living in St. Louis, Missouri, right outside of the city, and that's where my father was working. And he was pretty successful in the insurance world. And we lived in like a really nice neighborhood. Like we lived in the neighborhood where all the St. Louis Cardinals lived, and the St. Louis Blues, like professional athletes. So my father was like killing it with his job, and then he tragically had a heart attack and didn't make it. So. We were in St. Louis because of his job, but all my family was down in South Florida. So when my father passed away, my mother moved us down to South Florida, and we started off in Boca. And I was only 6 years old, so I wasn't really involved with much then. But we, just making the move and being with family that lives in South Florida. My grandfather was a baseball guy, and he kind of helped raise us, and so he kind of got my mother interested in getting me involved in baseball. And so I started playing baseball like when I was like 7 years old, living in Boca Raton before I moved to Coral Springs, and kind of just started from there. I tried other sports. A funny story. My mother signed me up for soccer, and I was 7 years old, and I hated it. I cried.
Every baseball player hates soccer.
The first practice, like I didn't even make it. I cried. I hated it. I'd like run after a ball, like and kick it. Like no. So I just stuck with baseball, and then obviously as my brother got older, and I kind of took on the father figure role for the family because I was young, but like
taught you to grow up quick.
Oh, I grew up quick for sure. My mother, she passed away too, but she really did a tremendous job of raising us and teaching us the right morals and the right way to how to act and respect elders and do things the right way, and just kind of instilled like hard work and discipline for sure. And anyway, so we got into baseball. I got into baseball that way. My brother followed suit because everything older brother does, little brother wants to do and do it better.
Yeah, so I know that pretty well.
But I started playing Little League baseball in Boca Raton, and then my mom moved us to Coral Springs, where my grandparents were, and like the rest of the family. She just kind of moved. It kind of happened suddenly, like it was a shock, when my father passed away. So she just kind of moved us to Boca, which was close to Coral Springs, but not right next door to the grandparents and the rest of the family. So we were in Boca only for like a year, and then we moved to Coral Springs where I grew up. Really, the rest of my adolescence. So I got involved with baseball then when I was in Boca, and then it carried over into Coral Springs. And I played at Coral Springs High School. Had a pretty good career there. Got a chance to play at Palm Beach State, and then, like you said earlier, I played at Stetson. And then I was good enough for college. I wasn't good enough for pro ball, so I started coaching. And there's a whole lot more to the reason why I started coaching, but we can get into that later.
Well, really quick, going back to like high school, because I found my itch for baseball really heavily in high school. Like when did that happen for you? Like, I want to make it to the next level. I want to make a career out of this. Because that's also a turning point in your career as a baseball player. Like when you go from this is fun to like this is my life.
Yeah, no doubt. I really enjoyed like the strategic part of baseball. I enjoyed the team aspect of baseball when I was young. And I also enjoyed just like it still takes the individual like self-fortitude.
Yeah, like one of the best quotes is a team game you have to play selfishly.
Absolutely, that's perfectly said. And it teaches you a lot about discipline, hard work, but also how to be a team player. And
like how to deal with failure, because nothing's going to humble you more than baseball.
Yeah, and in all the sports, there's more failure in baseball than any other sport.
Yeah, 3 out of 10 and you're successful.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that 30% is a great career.
What other sport or any facet of life is that successful?
Yeah, your ass is gone if you're 30% good at something in other sports.
Yeah. Walk me through your high school years and like how it led to you going to Palm Beach State.
So I grew up in Coral Springs after moving there, and I got to play Little League ball. We didn't have travel ball when I was growing up playing, but we just had Little League and Big League when you were like 14.
Yeah,
and we get the varsity or get the baseball tryouts for high school, and obviously, I went to Coral Springs High School, and my head coach was named Frank Bombalis. He was there for over 30 years, and he was a PE teacher. And I'm a sophomore. After playing one season of JV as a freshman, I made varsity as a sophomore, and I had my coach for a PE class, and I go to him like, Coach Bombalis, you don't really do a whole lot. You're a gym teacher and you coach us at baseball. I love that shit. I want to do that. He's like, Nick, well then do it. Yeah. And so I kind of had an early mindset of doing exactly what my high school coach did, because I really, growing up without a father, I had my grandpa and he was the father figure in my life. But when I got to high school, Coach Bombalis became like that fatherly role model to me. Yeah. And he really did a tremendous job of running the Coral Springs program of teaching and making young boys grow up into young men. And he was a hard ass. He was disciplined. Some would say that at times, there's other better baseball guys out there, but there's not a better man out there that could groom young boys and make them into young men. And I kind of like really love that, especially with dealing with what I dealt with my father passing away. I kind of took on that father figure role in my brother. Yeah. And I just gravitated towards Coach Bombalis, and I really, really wanted to be like him when I got out of high school. So that's kind of the path I took. And when I was playing high school, I was a good player. I wasn't like an all-state player. I wasn't a heavily recruited player, but I kind of had to do things on my own too, because I wasn't really recruited, and it was kind of like a shock because I always had success. As a sophomore, I hit around 290, not too bad for a sophomore full-time starter. Yeah. As a junior, I hit like 390, and as a senior, I was hitting like 415, 410 in that range. And I don't know if you ever heard the name Mike Caruso. He played. Sounds familiar. He played at Douglas High School. Obviously, Douglas now is a powerhouse. But Mike Caruso was the cream of the crop when it came to like the class of '97, and I was in the class of '97. And he was Mr. Coral Springs because he was really a talented player, and he was a high draft pick by the White Sox, and he made it to the big leagues pretty quickly out of high school. But my numbers were always pretty similar to his, and it was funny. But he was a very good runner. I was a poor runner. He was a very good defender. He was a shortstop. I was a poor defender. My claim to my baseball career was I could hit a little bit. Yeah. So I had to go kind of on the JUCO tryout tour, like going into my senior year and then post senior year. I didn't know I was going to go to Palm Beach State till June of after I graduated. Oh wow. So it was kind of like a process of I got to find the right fit. I went to different tryouts, and I ended up finding a home. Craig Duro, who I played for at Palm Beach State, he offered me a walk-on spot. I didn't even get a scholarship, and my numbers were always good. I was all county. Like I said, there's no travel ball, but we did big league, and there was a big league all-star team. You got a chance to play the big league World Series, which was a big deal back then in the 90s. And I was an all tournament team player for that. Like I said, I was always a pretty good hitter, but I still didn't have a home to play after. And that was my goal. Like, I want to be a high school baseball coach, but I got to play college first. So
that was immediately what you're looking for, not about pro ball. Just
I never thought pro ball.
Okay.
I never had aspirations of pro ball. I kind of knew I was limited in ability defensively and tools wise, but I could always hit. Like, I loved hitting. I always worked on hitting. I always worked on hitting by myself. We had an assistant coach at Coral Springs. His name was Harry White, and he was kind of like Coach Smith at Santa Lucius.
Yeah.
He was like the guy that everyone sees, but never. If you utilize what he's good at, which is throwing BP and working with hitters, like, you would thrive under him. So, like, I kind of had a George Smith under my belt.
Okay.
In high school. His name was Harry White. And me and a couple other players on the team, we always hit with him whenever we could. We hit at Coral Springs High School. We hit at city parks. The only caveat to that was Harry White made us throw BP to him too. He's a 45-year-old guy that still played men's league, and he still raked. So, like, the only thing is he made us throw BP to him. But we always hit. We always were working on hitting, and so I was a pretty good hitter. And I was limited in my game because of I was only 5'9" in high school, 145 pounds, soaking wet, and I just always took to the. I always loved the art of hitting. I read Ted Williams' book. I lived it when I was in high school. And I watched big league games, and I always studied hitters. My favorite hitter when I was in high school was watching John Mabry with the Cardinals hit. I just loved it. And then he became he was a hitting coach, and, like, I just kind of followed all of his career. Like, I just loved the hitting. It's like you against one other person, like the pitcher. And, like, I always loved it. So I went on the JUCO tour, and I found a home at Palm Beach State.
Yeah, one thing I heard about that 11 RBI game, didn't you have the home run cycle or close to it?
Very close. That's my claim to fame. I do have the single season record at Palm Beach State for RBIs in a game. I had 11 RBIs in a game. And the irony behind that story is I had 3 home runs. I had a solo shot. No, I was missing the solo shot. I had a 2-run double. Shoot, this is all fuzzy in my brain because it was such a long time ago, but I had a great day, man. I fucking wrecked that day.
11 RBIs is a pretty good day. That's a pretty good week if you get 11 RBIs.
The funny thing is, it happened against Broward College. And when I was doing my JUCO tour, I tried out for Broward College. And Broward College, the coach at the time, and I can't remember his name, but he told me flat out, sorry, Nick, you're not good enough to play here. I end up finding a home at Palm Beach, and I have that day at Palm Beach against Broward, and that
must have felt really sweet.
It fucking felt phenomenal. My first home run, okay, cool, and then when I got to the third home run, they were on the first base dugout. Palm Beach's dugout was the third base. I hit the third home run, and I knew it was fucking gone. I look into their dugout, and I say, "Not good enough, huh, Coach?" And I don't know if he heard me, but that still makes me smile about that. And I had more RBIs than they had runs themselves. I think we won like 12-1, and 11 of the RBIs were mine.
Wow! So
it was a career day, and it's cool to say that I have a little bit of a place in the Palm Beach baseball record books.
No, that is definitely cool. I mean, you already know my claim to fame. You were the coach for it.
But the 3 home run thing, it actually was funny. It was tied by Sean Connor. Sean Connor, who played for me at Santa Lucius.
Yeah, no, I remember.
He had 3 home runs in a game at Palm Beach State also.
Yeah, he'd come out and do BP with us in high school.
His father, was his father Paul? Was he coaching with us when you were with us?
Yeah, he was. I think by the time I got up to varsity, he was on his way out.
Yeah. But it's funny thing is, Sean had 3 home runs in a game too at Palm Beach State, and I always fucked with him because he only had 9 RBIs. I had 11. Record's still mine, bitch.
Hit the weight room, jackass. So, going from being a player right to coaching, how's that transition? Because mentally, you're still in a different state when you're a player. Like for me, like I had like a 7-year gap when I came to coach with you, and it was still weird having kids call me coach.
Yeah. Well, I knew when I was in high school I wanted to coach. I wanted to be just like my high school coach. So when I was playing at Palm Beach State, I was a shitty defender. So I was the DH. I sat next to Craig Giroux, and I just watched. and you get a different perspective from the game when you're not on the field. And I was in the lineup, so I was happy with that because I was hitting, and that was Craig Giroux told me never to bring a glove to practice. That's how bad I was. He said, just work on hitting. You go do your thing.
So technically, what position were you listed at?
I was listed as a first baseman.
Okay.
I shagged there during BP, and I caught the balls from the infielders, and but I was a DH, and I was terrible at defense. It's really funny. I worked so hard at hitting that I just never really cared about defense. I just wanted to hit rake, and I kind of did a good job of that. So going back to this, to why I wanted to coach and how the transition happened. When I got to Stetson, like I tore it up in the state tournament my sophomore year at Palm Beach State, and I was named all tournament team and blah blah blah. But when I got recruited to play at Stetson, and I got recruited by other schools too. FAU liked me. They never really made a firm offer. Stetson was really hard after me because they saw me a couple times during the spring season of my sophomore year at Palm Beach State, and they really liked me, and I did well. So I ended up signing with Stetson, and I go into my junior year, and I have a okay fall. I probably could have done better. And the transition from JUCO to D1, it's pretty tough. The JUCO atmosphere is very high school like because it's more like you kind of like get a lot of instruction and a lot of teaching and a lot of individual time. And then you go to D1 and there's limitations because of the NCAAs, and you still get individual time, but it's almost more like pro ball atmosphere. It's very pro ballish, and JUCO is more high schoolish. Yeah, and not the talent level, just the way that you go about your practice. Like we would practice whenever we wanted in JUCO, and then you go to D1. There's time restraints, and it was really an adjustment for me that I wasn't very successful at. So I had an okay fall, but I got the chance to start as a junior at Stetson, and the first opening weekend series of my junior year, I kind of did well. My grandfather actually, who raised me kind of as a kid, was up in the land and watched that series, and I hit a home run. I had like 6 RBIs in the series, and I felt really good about like things at the moment. And a couple weeks go by, and I start scuffling a little bit, and I'm still starting. I was the DH. They literally recruited me to DH, and I started scuffling a little bit. And then I got replaced. And sure as shit, my replacement, his name was Vinny Rinaldi. He was a good dude, man. I've lost contact with him, but he was a good dude. And he got scorching hot. And I got delegated to the bench. And and then I got delegated to pinch hitting here and there, and I wasn't very good at it. So again though, I wasn't butthurt about it. I wanted to coach. So I took that kind of demotion with a grain of salt. And I said, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to sit next to Pete Dunn, who was my Stetson coach. And Pete Dunn, if you don't know, he's like a college baseball Hall of Famer. Like he's the real deal. He's from Palm Beach County, actually. And he was really good at running the program. And I sat next to him, even though I wasn't playing. I wasn't butthurt. I knew I wanted to coach. So I kind of just sat there again, like, I wasn't playing this time. At Palm Beach State, I was playing and picking and just watching and visualizing picking out all the things that Craig Giroux would do as a coach. I did the same thing when not playing, but I did it at Stetson under Pete Dunn. So, I still had a pretty damn good scholarship to not play. So and we were really good. We were ranked in the top 25 both years I was there. We got as high as 7. I played with guys that I'm still friends with. Like, it was a great time. And even though I didn't play, I knew that coaching was something that I really, really was destined to do. So I stuck with it. I graduated from Stetson. And then, I started coaching right away.
Yeah, how was that first year under Greenstein? But like I was saying, it's a wild transition going from playing to coaching.
Yeah, but
did you take to it pretty quick?
I took to it real quick. Yeah. I kind of knew my lane, and I knew that I was destined to coach. So
it's fun getting out there with the kids every day and hitting fungos.
I heard you say that last week.
Oh my God, it's a fun time.
My fungo game's getting a little bit. I'm in a little bit of a fungo slump. I think the old age is catching up.
Dude, the catcher's pop-ups are the devil.
Yeah, they're tough. When I first started coaching, I was the guy that hit fungos for Greeny and IO, And I was money at the pop-ups of the catcher, but I think I've been in a 5-year slump.
Yeah, I mean, you're also in an interesting position because you got to Santa Lucia's under Greenstein, then Park Vista opens, Greenstein goes to Vista, and a bunch of the players leave.
Yeah.
So what was that time frame like?
At the time, it's funny. I got hired as a head high school coach in South Florida I was 23 years old when I got named the head coach.
That's really...
I was 24 when I coached my first varsity game as a head coach. And that's young, man.
Yeah, that is.
But I kind of think that my upbringing and losing my father, I was very mature, well beyond my years. And
you have to learn it.
Yeah, so I learned from two really good baseball coaches and two really good baseball guys. And I kind of felt like my playing days were kind of like my training, so to speak, for coaching. Because at Palm Beach, I was a DH. I wasn't in the field, but I sat next to Coach Giroux and I just watched and learned, and I took it all in. And then at Stetson, I was playing for like a legend, and I wasn't playing, but I didn't care. Like, I was so happy to be at Stetson, and I knew I wanted to coach. So like, I had offers to transfer, like play NAIA ball or go down to D2, but like, I loved being at Stetson. I loved being in that atmosphere of a good team. We were, like I said, we were ranked in the top 25 both years I was there. And I got to experience NCAA regionals. Who cares that I'm not playing? It was just still cool to be a part of it.
Experience.
I have a conference championship ring that I still have at home, and like in my office that I have like on my mantle, like of baseball things. And I have great relationships from the Stetson guys. So like, and I learned so much, and I learned from two really, really knowledgeable baseball guys. And again, I knew I wanted to coach. Pro ball was never a thought in my mind. I wasn't good enough for pro ball, and I knew that, but I just wanted to play college baseball. The funny thing is, when I was in Coral Springs, I wasn't the most talented player on the team. There was guys way more talented than me, but I took it the most serious, and I worked the hardest, and that's why I played 4 years of college baseball after. And there's guys that like to drink in the garage on a Friday night instead of hitting in the back seat or in the backyard and hitting the gym, working out. Like,
then getting up early the next day to go for a run.
The funny thing is, I didn't have my first beer till like after baseball season of my senior year.
Wow.
And now I drink like a fish.
God. That's pretty good. One question I've always been curious about, a little selfishly. So, obviously, coaching high school, you've seen lots of pairs of brothers, but you had my family in your program for fucking 13 years. How was that? Like, did you get fucking sick of it? Like, another one?
No.
That's just crazy. How many times does a coach have 13 years of one family in their program?
It's pretty wild to think about. And, something that I really, truly am proud of at my tenure at Santa Lucia's has been the relationships that have been built. I don't care about the baseball part of things when it comes to how my former players are doing. I care that I got asked by you to come to this podcast. Yeah. Your brother just opened up a restaurant, and I was there for like the first brunch of it. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I love. I love the fact that, the other day at your brother's restaurant, you guys threw me a surprise, like going away party for being at Santa Lucia. I was shocked. My wife set that up so perfectly. God bless her. And, all the former players that were there and the parents that were there and just friends and colleagues through baseball that were there, it really meant a lot. Like, I cried. I feel like I keep my emotions to myself because of just my upbringing and losing my father at an early age, and I lost it at times during that night, and it was such a good experience, and just to see the impact that I've potentially had on some all the players that I coached, and that means way more to me than any amount of wins that I've had. Yeah. And I've had a good run, and and I still have 15 more years left before I can retire. So there's plenty of more relationships that are gonna be built. Yeah. But I think throughout the years that anyone that's played for me should understand that I've loved them. Like, no matter who they are, no matter how good they were, how bad they were, like, I've loved them, and I've thought deep and hard about how to impact their playing days and how they go about their business at life. And I'm real big on that, because that's how Frank Bombalis was for me in high school.
That's more important about coaching too, is like, baseball is a part of it, but baseball is meant to teach you about how to deal with the real world.
Yeah. Discipline, time management, commitment.
Yeah. Work ethic.
Work ethic. Being a good teammate.
Yeah.
You know? And each year I kind of like dissect the year and I kind of go back and I try to make corrections for the next year, or, you know, go back and like think I could have done this a little bit differently, or I should have done that. Yeah, but that's like life.
Yeah.
So like if I'm doing that, I want my kids to understand that it's okay to do that, and it's okay to admit that you messed up.
Yeah.
And you know, take it. You on your solo episode, you told the story about your senior year when I kind of was an asshole to you guys, and after that moment in time, like.
And that taught me a lot about growing up too, because like it wasn't an easy thing for us to do, but I feel like both parties handled it as professionally as you could.
Yeah, I really respect the fact that you came out and said like you were happy with the way that I handled it, and I apologized to you guys. And I, looking back at that, I was like, what a fucking asshole I was. Like, you guys didn't deserve that. Just because we lost some games, I was a dick to you guys, and I've never ever done that again because it's not the right thing to do. And I really to this day like. Have thought about that moment, and it's actually funny that we're sitting next to each other right now.
Yeah, no, I remember that game. It was a home game against Olympic Heights, and you called Malik to the home plate meeting.
Yeah,
that was I remember that day.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. And when I was listening to your first episode, your solo episode, I'm like, God damn, that was a fucking asshole move. And I don't know why I did it. I was frustrated because we weren't playing as good as we probably thought we should.
We had a fucking rough year.
We had a rough year.
We really did.
Yeah.
But that probably makes the Boca game such a mindfuck.
Yeah, and like, you know what? That kind of...
How was that game as a coach? Because, like, I was shocked as an infielder.
I think that just shows that I do love you guys. Like, you know, I could have acted the way I acted towards you guys and, like, take away your senior responsibilities and leadership roles and, like... And you guys could have been so butthurt that you're like, fuck Franco. But, like, you guys actually manned up. And that was a great teaching moment for both of us, really.
No, it
really taught you guys, hey, you know what? Something's bothering you. Fucking speak up for yourself.
Yeah.
And me, what the fuck was I doing? Like, why did I do that? Just because we lost some games? That's not the way I've been operating all these years, and that's not the way I want to operate. And you guys stepped up. And you know what? I realized that when you guys came up to me that day, and I'm like,
yeah,
you know what? Fuck. That was the wrong thing to do. And I apologized publicly to you guys in front of the whole team. And you know what's funny? We fucking started playing better after that moment. And you guys as seniors became the leaders that I wanted you guys to be.
And it felt good to do that.
Yeah. And
it really did.
When we upset Boca, what a fucking, it was like a euphoric feeling.
Yeah.
And just the way that Jacob pitched that day.
It was crazy.
And they had so much talent, and they threw their fucking number 3 against us. They had no respect for us.
That is the biggest, if you're a baseball fan out there, elimination game, I don't care who the fuck you're playing, throw your ace. That is just...
I agree completely. And to this day, I've never not thrown my ace on the game 1 of the district tournament. Because if you don't fucking win and your ace is not pitching, then shame on you.
Your ace has all the right to be pissed at you.
Yeah. It's not the right thing to do. And, you know, looking back at that year, that was more fucked up than what I did to you guys, not pitching their ace and the team that could have won states that year.
No, they were ridiculously good. They were deep through the bench.
Yeah.
Like I remember the game that year I pitched at Boca, and they had like a middle school field too. I was like fucking scared going into that outing. I'm like, God, I leave one pitch right here. It's going like 480.
Yeah, it's a bandbox.
I took them 4 2/3 with 1 earned run. Like that was fucking crazy.
Yeah. So like, it's just. The relationships mean more to me than the wins. I don't care about the wins. I don't even know how many wins I've had in my career. Like, I don't care. I care about the impact that I potentially have had on guys, and I care more about, you know what, you guys learn how to work hard. You guys learn structure. You guys learn organization. You guys learn time management. And if I'm doing that, and I'm sitting in one of my former players' podcasts who just finished coaching with me, like, I'm doing something right.
Yeah, yeah. But one other question I really did want to ask you too, like you were saying, like I feel like at some point you said you didn't have aspirations of pro ball, but obviously we all dream what it's like to be in the big leagues. What was it like seeing Pete pitch in the big leagues? That's something on its own.
Yeah. Pete played for us in 2013, or he graduated in 2013. Yeah. And you know what's funny? He made it to the big leagues as a pitcher, and he probably pitched about 11 total innings for us. He was always hurt.
Being hurt, yeah.
He was always hurt. And he always had a good arm, and he got, he signed early with Palm Beach State in November of his senior year because, his junior year he was actually pretty healthy, and but he also was a basketball player.
He was a good basketball.
He was a damn good basketball player.
I remember one day I was in the gym, I was watching him train threes. I'm like, this guy's on the fucking varsity team.
Yeah. And so he always came to us late. So he's always had a late start, and it also taught him like. Playing different sports is pretty cool. Like, and I think as a coach, having a multi-sport athlete, it has its benefits.
No, it does, because you learn so many things to put into each sport, from especially how you train.
Oh yeah, how you train, the athleticism that it takes to play basketball at the varsity level in Palm Beach County. Like
one of the craziest things is like Mookie Betts, one of the best big name players in the big leagues. He's also a really, really good bowler.
Yeah, he's a very good bowler. The funny thing about bowling is I was a pretty good bowler in college. They had college night. So
you weren't fielding ground balls.
Yeah, yeah. They had college night at Stetson in Delano at the bowling alley, and they had like dollar games and like 25-cent wings and like $5 pitchers. So I spent a lot of time there.
So how's your relationship with Pete?
With Pete? My relationship with Pete's really good still. I just talked to him yesterday. We're meeting up for dinner tomorrow night. And,
that's awesome.
He's in town right now because of the All-Star break. He's actually in AAA right now. He got optioned to AAA.
Yeah,
and it's a bummer, but he'll grind through it. He's always been a grinder.
But he's an undrafted. He was an undrafted free agent signing.
Yeah, so he signed after his senior year.
He's got the willpower to get back there.
Yeah, actually. When seeing him make to the big leagues, like I've had other players that I thought would be big leaguers and they didn't make it, and for various reasons.
Never know who could make it.
Yeah, and then Pete, who never really pitched a whole lot for us because his arm was always tender, and he ended up having surgery, and then he ended up having a great college career, and he makes it to the big leagues, and it's really cool because he's always been really good to Santa Lucius and to me. He always is whenever he's around because he still lives locally. He still lives near Santa Lucius, and that's his off-season home. He trains up at Cressy, so like he's always around. And he comes, he throws, he asks for a catcher sometimes. Let's catch a pen.
Sign me up. Give him my number.
So I will when next time he asks.
He probably remembers Braden. He played with Braden.
Of course, yeah. And he's just always been good. Like it's not like he's still making his name and making his mark in the big leagues. Right now he's not even in the big leagues. So but it's not about like a monetary factor like of being good to us. Like it's just the fact that he comes out still. Like when the other players see like a guy that's made it to the big leagues that played in the same fields and sat underneath the same shade tree after post-practice meetings and post-game meetings and everything.
And St. Lucius has a lot of history to it. Like
tons of history. Yeah,
it used to be a facility for the Expos.
Yeah, I mean we've played at the 4-field complex that everyone knows about in Palm Beach County. Like we were able to host the Slam tournament. We were able to host the JV tournament. That's a big deal in Palm Beach County, and Pete's always been around there, so he's always given some advice to the young pitchers. He just plays catch with guys. During the COVID year when minor league baseball got shut down when he was still in the minors, before he made it to the big leagues, he was out there a lot before we got shut down because they got shut down before us, and the parks were still open for like 2 weeks. And we didn't know we were kind of like in limbo. We didn't know what was going on. We were still playing our high school season. But then he was still out there, and then when COVID was kind of breaking off into getting back to normal, the minor league system still wasn't back to normal. So he was almost like an assistant coach for like 4 weeks of our spring season that year in 2021. So it was really cool. He was out there all the time. He was just the way that he gave back is invaluable. Just with his, the way he handles talking to kids and helping them out.
And they're going to remember that for the rest of their lives.
Sure. Before he broke for spring training this past year, he came out and gave a little talk to the guys, and he said the same thing that I just said. Guys, I sat underneath this tree every day with Coach Franco, hearing all the bullshit he had to say to you guys after practice or whatever. He's like, it can happen. He's like, I didn't even pitch a whole lot, and I made it to the big leagues as a pitcher. He said the same thing that I said earlier. It's like an inspiration story. And the bottom line is this with Pete, he's a grinder, and you have to be a grinder in life to be successful.
Yeah.
Nothing's given to you. You got to take it. You got to work hard. And that Pete's the epitome of that. It's a great story, and I'm still very close with him, like I said.
No, that's a really valuable relationship to have for sure.
Yeah.
So, moving to the new school, what are you looking forward to?
Well, yeah, like you said it earlier, it's a blessing, and I don't think it's really sank in yet. I'm wearing a Garcia hat right now, the Bulldogs, but it was really emotional when I was taking all the things down in my PE office, all my pictures. I have pictures of all the years past. I have all these like different like mementos, and I was taking it down in May, right before school got done, and I'm looking around. The walls are bare. I'm like, holy shit, this is really happening. Yeah. Like, it's one thing to like interview for a new job and get offered the job and then accept the job after like weighing the pros and cons. But it really hit home. It didn't even hit home when I told the players. Like, I told the players as soon as I found out. That way we didn't go into the season with any rumors or anything. I thought that was unfair to them. And but it really hit home when I was cleaning up the office. Because I had a lot of shit in there, man. 21 years of being at Santa Lucia's, there's a lot of stuff that piles up, Yeah,
and I'm just thinking, man, I just got here and now he's leaving.
Yeah. It wasn't something that I was looking to do. It kind of got offered to me.
Poetic justice. Your first year at Santa Lucia's, Ryan was there. His first year.
That's right.
Last year there, I just so happened to come back to coach.
Yeah. That was really funny that day in the cages. You're like just hitting for men's league, and I was in there and I'm like, hey, what's up, McKay?
And you're like, wow, you gained some weight. I'm like, yeah, that's what beer does.
Yeah, look at me. I'm the perfect example of that. But you know what? I think I was trying to figure out the number on the way over here. I think I've had 13 former players coach with me at some capacity. Yeah. And I think that's
a tough commitment.
It is, because of the schedule. We always practice at 3:00. It's just tough. You have to have the right life situation. And obviously it's not a lot of money. And
it's so fun.
I'm glad you had a good time. And so far in your 2 other episodes, you've mentioned how much you loved it, and that means a lot to me. That means I've had a little bit of
I did.
I rubbed off on you a little bit.
Phrasing, but it's definitely fun. Keeping in touch with the kids. Like the other day, JoJo hit me up. Like a couple of the kids were at the fields, and he just so happened to be there. He's like, "Hey, they're looking for you," so they wanted me to come over. I pitched live off the mound to a few of them.
No shit.
Yeah, that's cool. I embarrassed a few of them. I didn't throw hard, but I had a pretty good breaking ball.
That's good. Yeah. You're still playing in men's league as much as you can.
Yeah, no, it's fun. And one reason I liked that and the situation I was coming back to was like I feel like I can relate to them because I'm still playing a little bit. I still get the grind. Like it's such a difficult, humbling game.
Yeah, the game actually is the most difficult game to play. They say, right? I mean, there's so much failure.
You have 3/4 of a second to see an 8-ounce ball coming at you. Like it takes a lot of athleticism.
No doubt.
But in your over 20 years coaching, like you see in the big leagues now, it's all about power hitting, power pitching, see how much stuff you can get past a guy for 5 innings. How has that bled down to the high school level? Because I feel like it's kind of an issue at the big league level, but have you seen that in like how guys talk, how they train in high school?
Oh, no doubt. At least down here in South Florida, a lot of baseball is a year-round sport, and a lot of our athletes are specializing in just baseball because of the summer commitment that they have, and it's leaking into the fall now. There's more fall events with their summer program, so it's not just high school fall ball.
Yeah,
and it's hurting the development of the high school player, in my opinion. First of all,
not every kid can hit homers when they're in high school.
Right.
You have to learn how to use your tools to make you successful.
Yeah. You brought this up in your second episode with Chris. The BESR bats or the Besser or
Beezers.
The Beezers, yeah. Those bats were hot, man. That's what I played with. The ball jumped off that thing.
Aluminum.
Oh man, it was crazy. And when the switch happened to BB Core became more wood-like.
Yeah, I think at this point,
but wood barrel is better than BB Core barrel.
That's where I was going with that. I think high school should just switch to wood.
They should, but economically, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, because do you want to pay $100 for a bat that was going to break, or like $500?
It's funny. My freshman year of college at JUCO, we were still using BESRs, and then my sophomore year, we switched over to BB cores. So my sophomore year is the year that I had the 11 RBI game. So I was an okay hitter still with BB core, but it's really changed the way. And when they first came out, they were god awful. They were terrible. Yeah. And but they're a little bit more comparable to BESR. But first, like when we take batting practice on the field at the varsity level quite a bit, like almost every practice.
Yeah, no, I remember.
And there's not a whole lot of home runs hit out at Santa Lucius throughout my tenure there. There's not a whole lot.
Just really quick for the people listening, 325 down the lines, 400 at center. You're playing on a big boy field.
Big boy field with the wind always blowing in unless there's a cold front coming through.
Oh, but Saturday night we were actually on field 4 and the wind was blowing out. Like if I hit a ball almost through the left field there. It was funny. One of those nights.
Yeah, unless there's a system coming through or a cold front or like a rain system, like the ball does not carry it at field 4.
No, you have to know how to hit, not swing. Those are two different things, hitting and swinging.
You know, the home run at practice doesn't happen very often, so I don't lose to too many balls.
No, you definitely don't. You got like, 8 buckets?
Yeah. So. Something about Santa Lucia's kids, they've always had enough balls to hit because I'm a big ball. I like balls. No, I've collected a lot of balls throughout the years because there's so many events there. Like the maintenance guy always gives me a bucket. It's great, man. No, now I have to.
We're kind of like the hub for Palm Beach County.
Absolutely, all the perfect game events. They're they play games at Santa Lucius and Prospect Wire. I don't even know Prospect Wire still exists, but Prospect Select, whatever. There's a lot of events at Santa Lucius, and we have the luxury of being a high school team that played there. And now I'm passing it off to Coach Dahl.
Also a luxury of one of the few teams that has a field for their varsity and their JV team.
Yeah, it's spectacular. You get to practice at the same time. You get 2 separate fields for practice. That's something I'm going to have to adjust to management-wise at Garcia.
Now you got one field, and now the county's not cleaning up your field.
No, I know. I'm going to be taking care of a field for the first time in 21 years.
Fucking deserve it.
I don't mind it. It's therapy.
No, it is kind of fun, but one thing I've been getting from everyone, I need a legitimately funny behind-the-scenes baseball story.
Coaching-wise or playing-wise?
Hey, whatever you feel, whatever you want to tell.
Well, okay. I'll tell a funny story that involves me personally, and this is when I was an assistant coach for Greenie. So when I first got done playing, I started coaching. I coached 1 year at Palm Beach State. Then I was a substitute teacher, but when I first started coaching at Palm Beach State, I didn't have the teaching certificate yet. Mm-hmm. So I just started substitute teaching. And I was coaching at Palm Beach State as a volley for Coach Giroux. And I walk into Santa Lucia's one day at a random sub job. And I meet Mr. Krupa, the vice principal. Mm-hmm. And he sees a young, I was in shape back then. He sees a young, in shape guy. And he's like, "Hey, you're a sub?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm coaching at baseball at Palm Beach State. I'm just subbing right now. I'm not certified or anything." "Oh, I'm a baseball guy." So Jim Krupa was a baseball guy. And he goes, "Let me introduce you to the baseball coach, Larry Greenstein." The baseball world is the smallest world of all of them. So everyone knows everybody. Yeah. And so Jim Krupa introduces me to Larry Greenstein, and he's the head baseball coach at Santa Lucius. And I start talking. So he starts talking to me, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just substitute teaching right now. I'm coaching at Palm Beach State." Say, "Hey, well, once you get certified, if you end up teaching here, why don't you coach with me?" I'm like, "Yeah, I would love to do that. I want to be a coach. I want to coach." So Jim Krupa then goes, "By the way, you're coming in tomorrow, and you're going to come in every day until you're certified." I'm like, "Oh shit, all right." So the first day I stepped foot at Santa Lucius, I never left until May 26th of 2023.
Also, baseball players, keep in touch with your buddies. Like baseball found you a job.
Baseball found me a job. I loved baseball. I loved the game. I played in college, and I knew I wasn't good enough to play pro ball, but I still made it a career. And I got into teaching to coach, not the other way around. I became a PE teacher because that's what my high school coach was, and that's the easiest job to do as a coach. So why not do it? And so I just never left Santa Lucius. I stepped foot there one day, and I never left until just recently. Yeah. Kind of weird.
So what keeps that passion going all these years later? Because 20 years, it's a long time.
It all stems from my relationship with Coach Bombalis from high school. I still talk to him. His son, when I was a senior, his son was like a little rugrat, like 5 years old, like running around the field like a little bat boy. I see him around all the time. I still talk to him. He's actually involved with indie ball, so he's still grinding it out with the baseball world. And he's actually part of the Black Sox group that plays at Santa Lucius. So so I see him at Santa Lucius every year. How weird is that? Like, it's funny. Like when I was playing for your dad, you were our bat boy, and now you're like running indie ball stuff. Like, it's pretty cool to see. But it all stems from that. You know, a lot of it has to do with needing a father figure as a kid. I had my grandpas, both my grandparents.
Yeah.
But they weren't with me constantly. When I got to high school, I was around my baseball coach more than my family for the most part, because you're with them constantly. Mm-hmm. And we had a clubhouse at Coral Springs High School, and we were just always in there. And like, he taught us how to be men. He taught us discipline. He taught us toughness. You know, if we messed up, he ran the dog shit out of us, you know, and like, I love that shit, man. Like, it made us have accountability.
One thing I think I'm pretty sure I've said on the podcast before, but I feel like baseball, out of every sport, is the greatest teacher for how to deal with real life.
Yeah, because there's so much failure and you have to rebound no matter what. Who gives a shit? Like, you fucked up, you move on, you make the correction. If you're unsuccessful at something, so what? Don't give up. Just keep on going. Because in baseball, if you keep on going and you're 30% good at it, you're pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So you said something in your first episode, your solo episode, that just, and I can't remember it. Damn it, I'm mad that I can't. But it was really to that same effect, and I can't remember the way you articulated it.
Was it the Jeter quote?
It might have been.
It was someone might be better than you, but it's no excuse for them to work harder than you. Yeah, and that was literally me as a high school player. Like, I was fucking tiny. I didn't have the best tools, but I could tell you, you could find me at the gym more than the other guys. You could find me running miles more than the other guys. It's just about having commitment.
Yeah. And if you commit to anything in life, you're going to be good at it, or you're going to be successful that's in some degree. So baseball is like, I think it's the greatest teacher of life compared to other sports. There's still some aspects that are very similar: teamwork, discipline, hard work, you know.
Always.
But the failure part.
The failure part is the big part.
The failure part is all about how you rebound. And because there's so much failure in baseball, baseball is the biggest game of adjustments, right?
Yeah. Every pitch is an adjustment.
Yeah. When I was in college and I would swing late, and Craig Giroux would say, "Get your foot down earlier," and I make that adjustment, and boom, I hit a double. You know, it's like, and just one pitch later, and all he's saying from third base coach's box, "Get your foot down early." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I was late as fuck on that one." So let me get my foot down, and I crushed it. You know.
One thing that's always funny too is like, you'll see some hitters fuck with pitchers. Like, they'll be late on a pitch just to set them up for like an inside fastball. Yeah,
it's like Tony Gwynn when he took BP. I don't know if you know the story, but Tony Gwynn, when he first took BP, you would think that he's never played baseball before, because he would hit the ball into the opposite side of the turtle on purpose. He's peppering it foul, but he's letting the ball get so deep on him that that was part of his first round.
Because in the game, your adrenaline pumps you up times 10.
Yeah, well, what a great teaching tool. Like, and then if you just happen to walk by the BP that day and you see a guy hitting the ball foul, you're like, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, it's Tony Gwynn who's doing it on purpose to get himself ready for the game.
Yeah. One funny story I heard with, Harold Reynolds, second baseman for the Mariners in the 90s. He met Tony Gwynn as as a college basketball player. And he's like, man, this guy's a pretty good basketball player. Someone comes up to him and he's like, dude, he's the best hitter in the fucking country.
Yeah. That's funny. You just brought up I never told you the funny story. I kind of got off on a tangent. It was going back to, I was talking about how I started coaching. So I was an assistant coach for Larry Greenstein.
Yeah.
I was a good BP thrower when I first started coaching.
No, I loved your BP.
Thank you.
I did love your BP.
I'm actually throwing one of the summer team that I coach. One of our players is in the home run derby for the All-Star game next weekend. And he asked me to be the BP thrower. That's like a fucking honor, man. That's cool. Someone asking me to be the BP thrower for his home run derby participation. Cool. I'm like, wow, pressure's on me, not him.
No, I know. And did you actually see it? Per the data recording, last night was the home run derby. And did you see how Dallas Garcia getting dog shit BP?
Yes.
No, you got to bring it.
I know. I'm actually starting to get nervous thinking about it. But so I was a good BP thrower when I first started coaching. And this is the funny story that I have to go back on because we kind of lost track of where we were at. But
that's how you know it's a good podcast.
Yeah, And so I go to a buddy's wedding, and it's during baseball season, so I had to take Friday, Saturday off because I had to fly out of town. I get so drunk at the wedding. I was the best man. I had a killer best man speech. It was fantastic. And, I'm 23 years old, so I could drink then.
Yeah.
Not that I can't drink now, but it's funny. So I get so drunk that I'm taking off my tuxedo because, it's a wedding. I'm in the wedding. I'm the best man. And this is at the end of the night. I'm taking off my tuxedo and I lose my balance and I fall into the wall. My right shoulder slams into the hotel wall really hard. And I'm like, oh shit, that hurt. So I don't think anything of it, whatever. You sleep it off, you take the flight home, you go get ready for practice on Monday.
Yeah.
My turn to throw BP on Monday's practice. I fucking dirtball the first couple throws. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I'm like, shit. I go, Greeny, I'm hurt. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I can't fucking throw. So it bothered me so much that I couldn't throw BP that day. So I'm like, I got to get this checked out. I go to the orthopedic. I get an MRI. I have a fucking torn labrum from running or falling into the hotel wall at a wedding. And it had to have been the impact from the wall that tore my labrum because I was fine before the wedding. I fall into the wall at the wedding, and then I can't throw BP after the wedding.
It harder than you thought.
Who knows? But drunken stupor me, I fell. And I ended up not having surgery. I ended up just kind of, dealing with it. And ever since then, I've still throw BP every day with torn labrum.
Yeah. Wow. It's a really interesting long journey you have. I mean, are there any other stories you want to hit on the way? I feel like I went through all my notes. It's weird. I normally don't.
Yeah. Like I said, when I was clearing out the office, that's when it really hit home. Kyle Dahl was our assistant coach this year. Yeah. One of my assistant coaches, you know him. And he's a good dude, man. And I brought him in this year for the first, he was only with me for 1 year. And he's a PE teacher at St. Lucius. Yeah. And we became really close throughout the year. And then I had to tell him, like, dude, I'm leaving. He's like, you just fucking brought me in. You're leaving? I'm like, sorry, man. I wasn't trying to leave. I just kind of got offered. Like, it just kind of happened. And, looking into the opportunity to start up a high school and be the first coach ever, I didn't take lightly. And I it's kind of like Greenstein with me. Like I was a young assistant coach, and my head coach, after building a great relationship with him, and I still have a great relationship with him to this day, he kind of groomed me to be a head coach. And again, kind of a common theme, father figure to me, because, I really gravitated towards him once I started coaching with him, and I just ate up everything that he'd said and did. And he's been a very successful high school coach. Yeah. At Park Vista, they're very talented. He's, made another state Final Four run this year. Yeah. And they got a ton of talent. Nolan Shanwell just got picked up in the 11th pick of the draft. He was a Park Vista kid. He was at FAU. And Anyway, so Kyle's like, you just got me here, and now you're leaving. I'm like, yeah, but you know what? I have an idea. Mm-hmm. You have 3 choices: stay here and teach and not coach, stay here and teach and coach with me over at Garcia, or stay here and teach and take over the program. He's like, oh man, I got small shoes to fill then, huh? So he knows, no, I want to take over. So we went to the principal after I had told her that I was leaving. She was shocked, and obviously, granted, I mean, I was there for 21 years. It wasn't like something that I was looking to do. It just kind of happened. And so Kyle Dahl's taken over. But it's kind of like when I was at Santa Lucius, there was a search for the next head coach, and I happened to be on the staff, so I interviewed, and I ended up getting the job. And looking back at that experience, thank God for that first day of subbing at Santa Lucius, because if I didn't take that sub job that day, I would have maybe never stepped foot at Santa Lucius. And 21 years later, I'm leaving Santa Lucius, but it's always going to have a special place in my heart. And all the memories and all the relationships, I'm going to be a Chief through and through till the day I die, no matter what.
Yeah, I still got a bunch of the memorabilia in my room for my Chief days, but
I always hooked you guys up with some pretty good gear. I wanted to treat you guys like a college program,
What's funny is it was my dad's birthday, like, back in March, and, like, the whole family gets together, me and all my brothers, and for the listeners, Franco coached me and all my brothers, and we're there, like, no, we always looked better dressed than every other team. We seriously did.
Yeah, and I always thought that was an important factor of how I did things.
No, it is.
And you guys appreciate it.
No, we loved getting all the gear.
It's something that I always did too, and I like to throw little curveballs at you guys. I never got like the same gear. I always switched.
No,
it up
every
on you
year
guys.
it was a little different.
Yeah, and every year, like, it's funny, guys that have come back and just see the new gear, like, what's up, Franco? You never gave us that kind of shit when we were there. No. Like, dude, you got shit. This is different.
I'll be honest, when I came back this year and I saw the new varsity jerseys, I was like, what the fuck? Mine were like 7th generation hand-me-downs.
They were pretty bad when you were there. Hey, we're on a budget, you know. High school budgets are tough, especially at a public school.
Oh my God, yeah.
We know what's crazy that I totally was mind fucked about when I first took over. You know how much money Palm Beach County gives public schools for baseball? Zero. Really? We have to raise 100% of whatever we spend.
Really?
100%. We get nothing from the school. We get nothing from the district, except for our coaches' stipends that pays for the coaches. But as far as a budget,
if you want a fungo, you're paying out of pocket, basically.
No, you fundraise and you can pay with the school account.
But you know what I mean. Like if you want a fungo, you have to find the money for the fungo.
Yeah, you have to make sure it's why I couldn't believe it. And here's the even crazier part of it: you have to pay for your own officials. So like the umpires, they don't get paid by the school; they get paid by the baseball budget.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Wow, I didn't realize they got fucked that hard.
So you remember when we were doing that online fundraiser in January?
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking important.
Man, I didn't realize you were literally doing everything.
Yeah, man, everything. That's one thing that people don't realize about high school baseball, like especially in the public school sense. Like private schools, they're all operated differently, and they have money, and they probably get a budget. But like public schools in Palm Beach County, we get zero. And so and we also have to deal with discipline. We have to deal with checking grades. We have to deal with fundraising. We have to deal with all the aspects of running a program, and 90% of it is off the field stuff.
Yeah,
which is what people don't realize. You see a lot of travel ball guys get involved in high school, and then you see how quickly they get out. You're like, whoa, this is not what I expected. So, I've gotten called to the office before with the administration because one of my players got caught jerking off in the bathroom during school. So like, you think Johnny Travel Ball coach deals with that?
No, he just takes a paycheck and then
exactly. So like, you guys don't realize the grind of a high school coach, and to be able to have done it for 19 years as a head coach and 21 years overall, going into my 20th, starting up a new program. I dig it, man. I love it. I think it's what I was born to do, especially after my upbringing and the way I was, brought up with baseball and having three really good men be my coaches that I played for. It's like what I'm destined to do. I have no kids. My wife and I don't want kids. We enjoy not having kids. My kids are my players. So like, I genuinely love them all, and I will continue to love them all. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure they understand that accountability matters, and we're going to do things right. And moving into the new school, I'm looking forward to being the first of something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'll be a really cool experience. Yeah. Well, anything that you want to add before we wrap up?
No, but this is an honor being here with you tonight, and the fact that you asked me to be here is again another honor. And I'm humbled a little bit. This is why I chose what I wanted to do as a career.
It's been a really fun experience. Yeah. Anywhere people can reach you at? Because I'm sure, like, if a kid playing ball want to reach out to you, you'd have an endless amount of information to give them about like how to navigate college, how to train, like anything in that aspect of baseball to college to real life.
Yeah, my best advice to give them is you kind of like my path to playing college ball. I did it on my own. My high school coach Frank Mabales helped after I got tryouts and put in his 2 cents. But ultimately, if you want to play college ball after high school, you got to do it yourself. Like it's not. It doesn't matter what team you play on. It doesn't matter what summer program you play on. If you're good enough, you can find a home. Mm-hmm. And if you're realistic about your abilities, you can find the right fit and right home. Too many Florida players think that they're going to be playing at Florida State, Miami, or Florida. And the grand scheme of things, it's not realistic.
Yeah, they don't realize how good it gets.
I'm coaching in the collegiate league right now, the South Florida Collegiate League. We have a D3 player that made the All-Star game with a sub-1 ERA all summer long. Wow. He's a D3 player, and he's from Florida. And you know what? You know why he's a D3 player? Because he throws 80, and he has a good breaking ball, and he throws strikes, and he gets people out.
He knows how to pitch, not to throw.
But he throws 80. So no D1's going to want him. Yeah. But you know what? He was realistic with his abilities, and he found a home up in Jersey, and he's playing at a D3, and he's doing well, and he's going to play 4 years of college baseball. And that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Not everyone's built to play pro ball.
No.
Not everyone's built to play D1 Power 5 ball. But if you want to play ball, you can play ball as a high school player in South Florida.
Yeah. Well, Nick Franco, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And if you ever want to come back, you're always welcome, man.
I'd love to, man.
Yeah. All right, this has been it for Dugout Chatter. You can find Dugout Chatter wherever you get your podcast, and we release episodes every week on Tuesday. And thank you so much for listening. And Nick Franco, one last time, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, McKay.
Yeah.